Kanayo Jubal, many of you, yeah. Thank you all for joining us today. I may not be able to mention all your names, and I believe that today's event will be very beneficial to every one of us. Sorry, I didn't know that my video was off. Okay, so welcome everyone today. I believe that today's event is going to benefit every one of us. I think it's about personal branding, because the way you present yourself, or let me say, the way you present the way you dress is the way you be addressed. So I will not the moderator today, so permit me to introduce the moderator. She is Mrs. or Miss Ada Okachuku. Forgive me, I don't know. So Ada Okachuku, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, you're welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
All right, so you have the floor.
Thank you. Okay, it's actually Mrs. Ada Okachuku, but it's okay. I really don't mind.
Noted.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I've been given the honor to moderate this quite mind-opening, mind-blowing session. And we'll be talking about our resumes today, what employers want to see in our resumes. So we have somebody who is very, very experienced in this field. There are a few of us who have actually started a career journey towards a transition in our careers. You know, some of us are on transition journeys. And we really want a situation where, and I'm sure everybody who have embarked on this journey with me in Rome Business School is here because they want something better in their career lives and future. So what better way than to sell yourself on your resume, because that is the first thing that any employer would look at before you are invited to express yourself. And we all know that it is when you're not in the room, you have to make a very good impression of yourself, which is why Chris talked about personal branding. So today we have somebody who is very vast in this field and has come here to share her knowledge with us and give us a better understanding of what employers want to see in our resumes. She's a graduate of marketing from Enugu State University of Science and Technology and has an MBA from the University of Lagos. She has years of experience in business development, administration, and human resources. She's a human resources professional and currently sits as the business manager and lead recruiter for Global Profilers. It's an international recruitment agency which specializes in the recruitment and placement of highly skilled talents, both local and expatriates, including repatriates, especially in the African region. She has consulted for and made placements that cut across several sectors, which include telecoms, FMCG, agriculture, healthcare, power, oil and gas, to name but a few. And she's currently responsible for talent hunting, recruitment, selection of Nigerian and foreign nationals and international organizations. She has been a part of some organizations' hiring success story and also individual candidate career growth. She has relevant experience and transferable skills in the non-governmental organization, as she is the Lagos chapter team lead, as well as board member of Empowered Sapiens Malaya Initiative, an international NGO with a focus on giving women and the girl child a purpose-driven life. As a result of her input and expertise, the organization has reached over 1,000 children in marginalized communities, amongst many other achievements. Her hobbies include playing table tennis, that's very interesting, graphics design, and reading documentaries. It is my singular honor to welcome Mrs. Uche Ezeamaku. We're so happy to have you, and we're looking forward to taking so much and learning so much from you this evening. Welcome. Welcome. You have the floor now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Mrs. Ada, right?
Yes. Ada is fine.
Okay, Ada. All right. Thank you, Ada. Thank you, Chris, for having me. Oh, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the management of Rome Business School for this opportunity to address us on some key things. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
yes, I can. I can
Okay.
hear
Yes, we
you well.
can. We can hear you.
All right. So we're going to be discussing about our CVs, about our resumes, you know. Do I have the permission to share the screen so that we can kickstart immediately?
Of course, you can go on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, we can
Yes.
see your screen.
Okay, yeah, so we're talking
Yes, we
about,
can.
all right, thank you. So this evening, we're going to be talking about career advancement workshop. What hiring managers look out for from CV to final selection. Okay, the truth about this is that there is no, I would not say there is a formula for this because different hiring managers have different organizational needs. They have different recruitment needs, and they have different things they are looking out for, even for same position. But I'm going to be discussing with us some of the basics, and I hope that after this workshop, we will have lots more success stories. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the selection process. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Just in case you're not able to hear me or you don't get me correctly, please just call my attention, okay? So now we are going to start with the selection process. I itemized 5 things here. I itemized 5 things here. The first thing here is the job description. I know a lot of people ask me questions, you know, they have very beautiful, well laid out resume, and they wonder why they were not called for an interview. There are so many factors responsible for that, and we are going to be addressing some of that. Okay, so first off, before any recruitment is made, before there is any vacancy, for us, I work with a recruitment organization, so I'm going to be talking from the perspective of a recruitment organization. I'm going to be talking from our own perspective. So for the selection process, what we work with is a job description. Organizations have various reasons for hiring. It could be as a result of growth. It could be as a result of headcount gap in the organization. They have various reasons, various reasons for doing that. But before we can do anything, we'll first of all understand why they need a particular candidate or why they have it for a particular position. And it's the job description that describes it. So here I have the job description. The process goes from description. If we have the job description, then we talk about reviewing CVs to identify potential candidates for the position. And then after that, the organization could have various interview processes. Some could demand tests, some may require case study analysis, you know, for selected candidates. And then some also would have various stages of interview. You find out, for us, we've had some positions, you know, and then you have the organization having like 4 or 5 interviews with one candidate for same position. Wow, because of the bureaucracy in those companies. And then after the interview is made and after all the whole process of interviews are completed, they can now be a selection and an offer. So now we're going to talk about the job description in details. So the job description basically describes the responsibilities of the position. The job description describes the responsibilities of the position. it tells you in detail what the client, or I'm using client in this sense because I work with a recruitment organization. So the companies, the main hiring companies for us are called clients. So the job description explains to us what the client wants in a preferred candidate. So of course, he highlights the details of responsibilities. He highlights the skill set that they want. He highlights the education that they want their preferred, the ideal candidate to have. They also highlight the experience that they want their ideal candidates, to have. So an effective job description provides enough details, for candidates to determine if qualified for the advertised position or not. But most times candidates want to try their luck. You see a position for a CFO, then you see a general manager position, then you see an admin person applying for that, maybe probably trying to try their luck and see if by faith or by miracle they will be called for an interview or not. But I would always advise candidates, I would always advise applicants to apply only for positions that fit their profile. There's no point sending, you're just an accountant with 2 years experience, and then you see a job description or for a CFO, and then you send in your resume expecting a miracle to happen. It may never happen. So also, and I would always advise that whenever there is a vacancy, wherever any recruitment agency or a HR person or a headhunter, a talent recruiter contacts you for a position, always make it a point of duty to ask for the job description. Most times they look at your profile on LinkedIn and find you maybe somewhat interesting for the position, and then they ask you to send your CV. I would always advise that you ask them to, first of all, share the job description so that you can tell if it's what you want to do. I would explain in details why I'm saying that, okay? Of course, I would explain as we go further. So this job description is determined by a lot of things. It could be by the gaps in the headcount, organizations' growth plans, and of course, it's also limited by the salary budget that the company is willing to pay the best fit for that position. Okay, so the job description describes all this. The job title gives an overview of the company. You need to know what the nature of the company that is probably reaching out to you or contacting you for a job. Shows the JD shows the summary of the position, the reporting lines. For some, it has detailed responsibilities. For some, you see hiring managers, maybe because of the urgency, just highlight or make key points of just a bullet point of the key requirements that the organization wants in their preferred candidate. So the job description actually is what tells you whether you're a right fit for the position. So after the job description, I'm going to show us some samples of job description. And the samples that I have here are actually vacancies in Global Profilers. These are vacancies that we are looking for, we are sourcing potential candidates for. So you can maybe screenshot it if it relates to something that you desire. I want to share with us a sample of a job description. So this is like a head business development opening for a client of ours. This client is into data. They are a document management company. It's actually a hard to sell kind of service. So they want somebody with experience in the insurance, from HMOs, from all these difficult to sell service that usually have just difficult to sell service. So now you will notice that this job description here indicates the location. The location, even though the company is in Lagos, the location for this position is in Isheri, Ogun State. It's after Vega. They still call it Lagos anyway, but we indicate the position so that people who are not willing to travel that far would would not bother applying. People who are not willing to relocate will not also bother applying because it makes it difficult for us also. So if you look at this job description, you will see that it has a summary of what this position entails or what is required of this position. Here we have the head business development will lead, plan, and implement strategies to sell new record management outsourcing agreements and support the implementation to achieve revenue, profit, and client satisfaction plans. The preferred candidate must have a good understanding of Lagos State business terrain and must be resident in Lagos because it's close to Isheri. Okay, so if you see here, you will see that this job description highlights the responsibilities of for the position. You would also see the qualifications, that the client is expecting from shortlisted candidates. And also you would see the key skills and competencies, that is required for this job. The reason why I would always ask applicants to request for the JDs or for any position that they want to apply for before sending in their resumes is so that they can have the privilege of tweaking their resumes, so that they can have the privilege of just tweaking their resumes with the key points that are here. Most times I've observed that applicants have difficulty in expressing their thoughts in words. They know what they can do, they know what they do, but then to properly articulate it in writing becomes a problem. So, if you go through a job description and see the highlighted skills, the highlighted competencies, the responsibilities, you can easily identify what you can easily relate to it if it applies to you. You can see keywords that best explains your current responsibilities, and I would advise that you tweak that. Of course, that doesn't mean that you have to be dishonest. There is no point claiming what you cannot do because it will tell. We have had issues where candidates employ people, and within 2-3 weeks, or let me say 2-3 months of the candidates resuming, it was discovered that the candidate is not the right fit for the position, and you don't want that happen to you. You don't want to quit your job for the next pay just to be sacked again from the new job. It's not a good experience. So I would always advise you tweak based on what you can deliver. You tweak based on your abilities, based on your competence, based on your skills. Most times people have difficulty, in getting the right words that better explains their abilities and competence. So having the sample job description for a role you intend to function in, gives you that privilege of tweaking your CV with the keywords. Of course, like I said, it doesn't mean that you have to be dishonest. So for this particular position, our client wants somebody from insurance, basically insurance, HMO, somebody that has experience selling business to business, somebody with experience in the B2B. And the budget for this position is about 500,000 monthly gross salary. Of course, most times clients can be a bit flexible about their budget, but if you're currently earning 750, I'm just telling us the budget so that if you're currently earning 750, you would see that this may not be a good opportunity for you. But somebody that's currently on maybe 300, 400, or somebody that maybe this is something that they want to transit to, can apply for the position. So this is like a sample job description for head business development for a document management company. So for us as a recruitment organization, you will wonder why the name of the organization is not here. It's company policy for us. So we don't disclose the name of the organization for several reasons, which I may not go into. But what we usually do is that after applicants have indicated interest in the job and apply, after we are done with the CV review and our own internal internal assessment. We shortlist them, we let them know that they are shortlisted. And by the time the client indicates interest to interview them, we'll give them all the information about the company so that they can do better, they can research more about the company to arm themselves better for interview. So this is a sample job description, and it's an opening that we are looking to fill for this client of ours. Okay, this is like a continuation or a continuation. Sorry. This is more like continuation of the key skills, process orientation, somebody you know is very good with accountability, somebody that is willing to travel across Nigeria because they have office also in Abuja and in some other states. Okay, so the next one I have here, I have another job description for an agri-tech company. So this is vice president sourcing. This is also another position that we are looking to fill. I think I just have only 3 sample JDs. I would share the rest of the JDs with maybe Ngozi or Chris. So for this position, the client is the position, the location for this is in Uyo. It's not listed here. I think that was an error on our part. Okay, yeah, it's a Calabar Cross River, that's the location. So this position is vice president sourcing, and it's for an agri-tech company. Here you would notice that we described the company profile. You know why? The company in question is a startup. It's a startup company that was launched by some young professionals. They're in their mid-20s, but went to Ivy League schools. Like, okay, I highlighted it here. I said the firm's leadership trained at Bain & Company, Facebook, and General Electric, and studied at Yale, MIT, and Duke. The firm's investors include Y Combinator, Bill Gates investment firm, that's BEV, and other leading venture capital and private equity investors. I had to show this so that the applicants can understand the strength of the company. Even though it's a startup company, they are very well grounded. They understand their onions, they know what they are doing. Because most people are skeptical about leaving well-established companies for startups. So this location, like I said, is based in Uyo. I have details of the summary, I have details of the responsibilities, and then the requirements. I just want to highlight something here on the requirements. Here it says, I just want to highlight this, building efficient system, significant experience operating as a regional or department head in a medium-sized or large company, building efficient and effective systems to hit strategic objectives. So these 3+ years here indicate how many years their preferred candidates, the number of years of experience that the preferred candidate should have handled such responsibility. Because this is a sourcing position, they actually want somebody that would help re-strategize the sourcing department. They are into palm kernel processing, so they want somebody with information, with contact on how to source the right raw materials for their factories. So I would advise that for those who may be interested in this position, take out time to study the job description, the requirements, and if you notice, you will see the sourcing volume that the client required, so that in your own resume, indicate the tonnage, the volumes that you source for in your current organization, because the client wants to see that to be able to tell whether you are a right fit for the position or not. Please, Ada, how many minutes do I have for this? So that I have a long slide. I just want to be sure that I'm within time.
Please go on. You still have about 45 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, so this is another, I have 3 samples JDs here because they are actual positions that we are seeking to recruit for. Depending on what your view is, you may need to zoom your screen, to be able to see the points well. Okay, so this position now is a CFO position, and the client is a health-based company, and they're leading supplier of medical and diagnostic equipment here in Nigeria. So they are in need of a CFO. So for this particular position, I believe, I don't know if I shared this JD with Ngozi at some point, but the reason why some applicants that look qualified, the reason why they may not be shortlisted for this position is that this particular client is very particular about somebody with experience, somebody that has worked with one of the big fours, PwC, KPMG, and all of that. So this particular client for this CFO position is very, very particular about somebody that has previous experience with one of the big four. So you could see somebody that have experience, in the FMCGs, have reasonable number of years of experience, have all the skills, have the right education, and then the person is not shortlisted for the position. The person will not wonders the reason for that. So in some cases, some clients are very particular about some requirements, and some clients, of course, get pigeonholed by those requirements, even though sometimes we try to advise them on the reason to be flexible with that. This particular client wants somebody with experience with the big four. So if you don't have any experience with one of the big fours, you may not be shortlisted for this position, amongst other things. So I just wanted to point this out. The budget for this position they're actually open to negotiation. We earlier shortlisted candidates who were currently on the 25 million, 35 million. For them, the salary is not a problem. They just want somebody with the right skill, the right experience, whatever, and then they are willing to negotiate. So they are not pigeonholed by the salary. They are just pigeonholed by the work experience requirements. So you can screenshot if this is something that suits something that is of interest. So you can screenshot and tweak your CV. Don't claim you have worked. Of course, you will not claim you have an experience with the big four when you don't. That would not be right. Okay, so after you have had an understanding of the job description, the next thing that we would look at is the CV review. So after we've gotten the job description from our clients, we tend to study that to understand the key things they are looking for, the skills they are looking for, the industry experience they are looking for, the skill set they are looking for, and all of that. So after that, we now advertise the positions with the job description. And then there is an influx of CVs, there's an influx of resume. But there are some key things I would want us to look at in our resume so that we can increase our chances of success, with the position. Of course, hiring managers are looking for the best candidate that will add value to an organization. And trust me, for every opening, there are hundreds of qualified candidates for that. So you would now wonder you would now ask, what would distinguish your resume from the rest? There are very key things that can increase your chances of being shortlisted for an interview. So the things that hiring managers are looking out for in your CV, they want to see your career progression. You see some people that move from customer service to HR, it's still related. From HR, they have moved to, let me say, they have moved from from customer service, they've moved to HR. From HR, the person is now doing something in maybe engineering because that was his or her initial education. you know, or maybe because that was where the person had his or her education in. Hiring managers want to see your career progression, and I would always advise that you have a career goal and work in that same path. Of course, I understand that unemployment in Nigeria, you know, make people just look for the next available opportunity so that money can come in. But I would always advise to increase your chances, you know, of getting the next big opening on that career path. It's wise to have a career goal and then work in that path. The hiring manager wants to see the career progression. If, let's say, I'm looking to hire a national sales manager, I'm looking to see the candidate's progression from maybe a sales officer to a field sales officer to an area sales officer to a regional sales officer and then a national sales officer, a national sales manager. So hiring managers want to see progression, and in cases where somebody moved from customer service to HR and then to sales, somebody with a career path on that sales field would tend to have a higher advantage of being shortlisted for an interview more than those that have just moved positions based on what's available. Another thing that we're also looking out for in while reviewing CV is relevant skills, education, and certifications. And it's very, very important that you highlight this on your resume. There are sometimes, let's say, I'm reviewing CVs and I'm interviewing for a position, and it's in the course of the interview that I discover that this particular applicant or candidate actually has certifications, you know, relevant to the job, but these certifications were not highlighted or listed in their resume. So I would always advise you have all this well listed, relevant experience. Hiring managers want to know if the experience on your CV is relevant to the job under consideration. They also want to see how stable and how loyal. There are some profiles that we receive, and then the person does not even, you will see that the person does not even stay up to 6 months in a job before moving jobs. And that does not tell good of you. That does not show that you're stable. The client will see you as being unstable. They wouldn't incur a high cost to hire you and then not trust if you're able to stay with them, you know, for a long time. Of course, it doesn't mean you should die in a job, you know, but I would advise you stay a minimum of 2 years in a position before you move. If you move after every 1 year, it will be difficult for you to get a very good job. Of course, there are some people that are lucky enough to still get very good jobs. But just to increase your chances of success, I would advise that you show more loyalty and stability in the organizations you work with. And of course, hiring managers want to look at value addition. They want to know what you have added. Most times you see you see resumes, and in the work experience session, I'm still coming to that, all the applicants listed on that is just the job description, like the responsibilities. It's very, very important to highlight your achievements. What value did you add? What value did you add in the organizations you worked for? And these are the things that you can articulate in words. These are things that you can write down in words. You may not have received an award for them, but you know that there were some contributions you made in those places where you worked before. It's very, very important, you know, that you highlight them, because the hiring manager wants to know that you are going to add value to the organization that they are considering you for. And of course, your CV tells a lot about your personality. Your CV tells a lot about your personality, and that's why you should give attention while preparing that. So I have some things here that we're expecting to see in your CV. Of course, your biodata. I would not necessarily say that there is a particular formula for CVs because we have seen different types, different formats, different arrangements. But I would advise on the first things that should be highlighted. Your bio data, your full name, sex, current location, email, phone number. I really would not advise you to put your age, especially when maybe you're in your 40s, so that it doesn't disqualify you from a job, except the job description states that the client or the organization wants people within a particular age bracket. Otherwise, there's no point putting your age. Your full name, sex, current location, email and phone number is very important in your bio data. And in situations where, let's say, the job advertised is located in Abuja and your current location shows Lagos, please indicate your willingness to travel. Indicate your willingness to relocate so that your CV is not tossed off thinking that you may not be open to relocation. So in situations where the job advertised in locations that is not where you're currently based, I would advise that you indicate your willingness to relocate if it's something you want to take up. Okay, points to note on your CV. Make it, of course, make it as rich as it can be. Add every important detail. Your CV describes who you are. We get tons and tons of resume, and the CV review is the first step to determining whether or not you're going to be shortlisted for the next stage of the selection process. So let your CV be as rich as it can be. Any interesting thing about you that can increase your chances of being shortlisted for an interview, please make it available on your CV. Don't ever assume that because you're working with, let's say you're working with Olam as a sales manager, that who does not know Olam, the hiring manager should know what your responsibilities are, should know your capacity, your scope. Nobody has that time to start researching. Nobody has that time to start asking questions. And CVs could get, tossed down because the details were not there. So make it as rich as it can be. Don't assume for the hiring managers. Any important details about your experience, your education, your skills, your achievements, make it available on your CV. And check grammatical errors. Really, we have a lot of work doing reviewing, editing CVs. Seeing a lot of grammatical errors on some CVs that are quite interesting. There was a particular candidate that we profiled for a position that was for an interior design company, for a marketing manager position. The salary, of course, was very attractive. I know I did a lot of editing on the candidate's CV because the candidate, after speaking with him, had the right skill set, had the right experience for the position. So the candidate had, I think, two levels of interview with the MD. And guess what disqualified this candidate for this position? When he was given a case study to do, and submit, the client disqualified this candidate because of the grammatical errors on the case study. She couldn't imagine bringing a marketing manager on board who doesn't give attention to details. And this position was already as good as closed. We've discussed salary, we've discussed even resumption time. But the only thing that disqualified the candidate for the position was grammatical errors that the client identified on the case study. As recruitment organizations, we can aid it, we can do some corrections on that, but sometimes depending depending on the key specifications that the client gives us, we can disqualify a candidate based on this. So I would always advise you can use this Grammarly. There are so many apps you can use to check for grammatical errors so that you're sure that for case studies, for case studies assessments and on your CV, you don't have grammatical errors on that. And then use legible fonts and format properly. There are some profiles that you see and the font character is size 8. You want us to use a magnifying glass, to see that. Please make it as legible as can be. Make it as legible as can be. Your CV is not the only CV being reviewed for that particular position, and you want to be given a chance, to be interviewed. So make the font very legible and format properly. Of course, personalize your CVs. You see people go online, download random CVs, and then after going through the CV, there is no feel. You can't feel the person behind the CV. Why? Because it was just copy and paste. People should see your CV and then tell to an extent, maybe to an extent, the kind of person you are. I should be able to identify or tell what kind of person you are by just studying your CV. So as much as you can, personalize it. Okay. And the things that we are looking out for, of course, your bio data, the professional summary, some people call it career objectives. For some resume, you see it as personal profile. I'm going to, of course, explain this in details. On the CV, we want to see your employment and career history. And it's very important that you start from the most recent. You see a CV of somebody that has, let's say, that has worked with 5 different organizations. And then the first thing you're seeing is personal assistant of 1999 or 2000, so for your employment or career history or work experience, depending on what you want to call it, start from the most recent. Your CV should also highlight your achievements in your various organizations, aside listing or pointing out your responsibilities. You can highlight key achievements and that are relevant to the job you are applying. Of course, your CV should have voluntary works, if any. This voluntary works is very important for applicants without much experience. Let's say for graduate trainee positions, those whose experience doesn't, those without much experience, add the voluntary works. Do you belong to an NGO? State what you do there. State what you have done there. It could even be in the church. It could be in any organization. It could be an internship. It could be a voluntary work for a course. You can highlight that because it tells a lot about your personality. And of course, you want to see your education and professional certifications. And then finally, trainings, awards, and recognition. Okay, I think I missed out something here. Your skill sets, skills and competence. We also want to see that on your CV. I think I missed that. Yeah, I missed it out here. So it's also one of the important things that should be on your CV. Your soft skills, the hard skills, your areas of proficiency or your areas of competence, as the case may be. Highlight that, on your CVs. Okay, now we're looking at professional summary or personal profile. So I shared some samples. I shared a sample of what a profile summary could be. This goes by different names. It could be professional summary, it could be personal profile, it could be profile summary, it could be career statement, it could be career objectives, as the case may be. But it's just something that that summarizes, that tells who you are, what you have done, what you're able to do. Look at this. Now, this is for a finance manager. Look at his profile summary. Astute and detail-oriented financial manager with an excellent track record of managing company's transactions, heading relevant departments, and delivering robust client service. And I may not have to read it all because of time. There is something, I would advise, just in case you don't know how to go about your professional summary, check online. All these things are available on Google. Check online, professional summary for a HR manager, professional summary for a CFO, and then if you get some templates online, you can tweak it, you can personalize it to suit who you are, to suit your skills and to suit what you can offer, to show what you can offer. So this one now, for you ask, what of somebody without an experience? This second sample here is like a personal profile for a young graduate. A dedicated young graduate with a demonstrated organizational skills, product development knowledge, and some project management experience. I actually copied this for a young graduate that my organization assisted with a job. What attracted me with this particular candidate's profile is, I think the only experience on his resume was just NYSC and then 1 year experience. But in that NYSC experience, in that his NYSC, he had everything well detailed, everything well detailed. For somebody without much of experience, that tends to distinguish the candidate from the rest. You see young graduates that just have one-page profile, not a problem, but nothing to tell what their potentials are, nothing to describe their abilities or what they can do. So I would always advise, for whatever the case is for you, go online, download templates or professional summaries or career statements that relate to you, and then personalize it to suit your person, tweak it to suit your person. So because the professional summary just describes you, describes your professional experience, tells who you are, what you can do. By reading the professional summary alone, I can tell whether an applicant is suitable for a particular position or not. So sometimes, especially when a client is not very particular about much details, a discussion can just start from your professional summary. A discussion, let's say during interview, can just start or begin from your profile summary. So like I said, all this I'm saying is just for us to increase our chances of success, our chances of being shortlisted for interview for positions that we are looking to apply for. So after your professional summary, the next thing should be your employment history. After your professional summary, the next should always be I would advise your employment history should come before your education, especially for senior positions, because for senior positions, the organization is no longer looking at what you read in school. I had a CFO that we assisted, and guess what he studied in school? I think it was biochemistry. His BSc was actually biochemistry. So imagine having your education on the top, and then you're applying for a finance position, but your education is showing biochemistry or engineering. So let your employment history come after the career statement, because the employment history tells the hiring manager whether or not you have what it takes to be considered for the position. Okay, so the employment history, of course, is a detailed summary of your current and past work experience. Start from the most recent. Start from your most recent, show your current designation, current organization. And then for your employment history, include the job title, include the name and location of the company. There are some people that go the extra mile by just, telling one or two, like by just writing in 1 or 2 lines what the company does. Now in Nigeria, there are so many companies, there are so many organizations, and most times, in order to determine the fitness of a particular applicant for a position, we're always trying to Google to know what this company does. If your CV is not already too bulky, you can just, if you say, let's say you want to say that you're currently a finance manager with let's say Olam. Olam is very popular. You can just briefly describe a multinational FMCG company. So at least that tells that this is an FMCG company. There are so many FMCG companies that are not very popular. So imagine, the organization seeing that on the employment history and then feel this person does not have industry experience. Why? Because they don't know the company. So you can always go that extra, go that extra mile by indicating in just 1 or 2 lines what the company does. You can tell whether it's an agro-based company, is an FMCG company, is a healthcare company, it's a management consulting company, whatever it is, just, you can just tell that, so that in case the company is not a well-known company, the client will not disqualify you, or the hiring managers will not disqualify you thinking you don't have industry experience. Everybody really has the time to start checking on Google to know what this organization does. I've seen companies I never knew existed, and then realizing that these are actually very big companies. So if you can just give that little explanation of what the organization does, I think it will tell well of you, and of course it will show the hiring managers that you have industry experience, especially if those organizations are not very popular. So your employment history should also show details of your responsibilities. There are profiles that we resume, and then the person says, I'm a finance manager with Olam from June 2005 to June 2015, to maybe June 2015. Next thing you will see CFO with same Olam, another company, June 2015 to 2019. Please show details of responsibilities. There are things you can show depending on what you want the hiring managers to see or tell from your CV. You can show details of your responsibilities. You can personalize them. You can also highlight your contributions and achievements. The reason why it's very important to show details of responsibilities is that, I give an example. We are recruiting for HR manager for an agro-processing company that is into palm oil. And now this particular client is this client is particular about somebody with experience on performance and appraisal management. So imagine that you are a HR manager, for example, and then your responsibilities does not show or tell that you have actually functioned in that capacity. That disqualifies you for the position. That disqualifies you for the position, because this particular client, especially if a client or if the hiring manager is particular about, some core responsibilities. So that's why it's very, very important. Like I said earlier, this is the reason why you should demand job description. And then so that you would make sure that all your strengths and capabilities that are relevant to the job are highlighted on your CV. Okay, to increase your chances of success. Then specify date of employment on your career history or work experience, as the case may be. Don't just put finance man. We see a lot. Of course, I believe this may not be an issue with students of Rome, but like I said, I don't want to assume. I've gotten CVs from senior managers, and then you wonder how they even got the job, the current job that they have, because their CV doesn't tell anything. Some send their CVs and they're like, please, can you help me, just add up. Nobody has that time. That's why it's very important that you take out, time to specify all these important details, so that you can increase your chances of being called for an interview. So specify date of employment, and in situations where maybe you were out of job, maybe the company was downsizing, lots of organizations downsized, indicate that. You can state why you were out of job. Some people, quit their jobs to pursue maybe a second degree or to get some of certification, or it could be that the company was downsizing, whatever it is. Still state that. It's better to state that than just have a work experience that shows maybe from 2005, and then the next work history shows 2010, And then the hiring manager is wondering what happened between 2005 to 2008. If there were productive activities that you engaged in those period of not working, please highlight them. Highlight them. It tells a lot about you. The hiring manager would know that this person is an achiever, is a go-getter, and tries to get their hands busy. So it's important you state what activities you were engaged in, the moments or times you were out of job. And then for the employment history, you can highlight for some they have their contributions and achievements on their employment history. For some, they have it as a different, as an entirely new section on their CV. So for whatever suits you, if you have very strong achievements or contributions, that you made in the places where you worked, it's important that you show them. Why? Because hiring managers want value for their headcount. So provide specific examples for all these details. So this is it for employment history. So if you do not have an interesting work experience, or let's say you are seeking to change jobs, I would advise that you make sure, because it's not a disadvantage not to have an interesting work experience. You can only put, what you have and what you have done. So, but our advice, in order to increase your chances, you can get, like I said here, make sure you have the basic skills, trainings, and knowledge of application software for your desired role. Somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn for an accountant job, and actually had one, a trainee accountant for a trainee position. And so I asked her questions about Excel, and I discovered that she does not even know how to use basic Excel. And I'm like, no company would employ you as an accountant when you don't even know how to use basic Excel. Now, I'm not asking about the Sage, the Pitch3, the QuickBooks, and all of those complex accounting software. So if you're looking to change or move to transition, change your career path, it's important to get relevant trainings and certifications, that relate or that are relevant to your intended career path. You have ISO for quality control, you have CIPM, the PHRI, SPHRI for HR, you have ICANN, ACCA for accountants, you have PMP for those in project management or operations role, you have the AutoCAD for graphic designs for interior architects. So for whatever it is, especially if you're looking to, to move career, it's important that you get some some basic trainings and certifications that are relevant to the career path that you wish to, get into. So, and of course, if you're changing career, you can also highlight skills and activities in your previous work that is relevant to the desired career path. Focus on transferable skills and highlight them. Focus on transferable skills and highlight them. Some organizations are willing, are open to employing people that, that are hungry, even if they don't have all of the relevant experience. If they can see the passion in you to learn more or to grow in that career path, you may be lucky enough to get that. And then if inexperienced, let's say a new graduate or you're out of job and you don't have, interesting work experience to put on your resume, please, you can include your internships, voluntary works, and other extracurricular activities. Rather than stay at home doing nothing, I would advise that you take up internships. I give an example. The person that I replaced in my current job, I would share a story how she got the job with Global Profilers. So she was working with a bank, got married and gave birth. So it was difficult for her, to combine all of that, family, the pressure from work, and then the long distance Lagos traffic and all of that. So she thought it wise to quit because she also enrolled for MBA. So she quit the job. 2 years down the line, she was open to working and no job was forthcoming. And she has always had a passion for HR, but does not have any relevant experience. So what she did was that she took up an internship with Global Profilers. She took up an internship with Global Profilers. 3 months down the line, the company needed a business manager. And guess what? It was the person that was working as an intern that got the job. She went from being an intern to being a business manager. Of course, I think she worked for a few months and then got her Canada visa and then relocated. So rather than stay at home and hoping and praying for the big jobs, of course, it doesn't mean the big jobs will not come. Take up something. Take up an internship, take up something, get busy. That way you learn on the job and then you increase your chances of getting something. You will meet people. If you're an intern in an organization, there could be an opening in that organization that may relate to what you want to do. And they would not go out looking for who to fill that vacancy where they have an intern that has shown passion for the job. So rather than stay at home, do nothing, you can take up internship jobs from organizations that you are hoping to work with. Okay, yeah, so you can pen down your question so that after the... Okay, so here I have a sample resume. I blocked out the name and the personal details of the... I want to zoom it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm trying to zoom so that I just wanted to point out something. Okay, so this resume is for... I talked about a graduate. This guy is a graduate. I had the CV last year and we got a job for him last year. Let me minimize 1 second. I just wanted to highlight something. I saw his CV and it was an interesting one. Why? Because he was just a young graduate. But look at how, because he doesn't have, like I said, because he doesn't have an interesting work history per se. Look at what he did. The first thing we have here on his most recent here show is NY. Look at his professional experience here. He worked with Unitel Nigeria Limited as a project manager, and that was his NYSC. But if you look at this CV now, you will see how detailed this CV is. Look at how this candidate, highlighted the things that he did as a project manager. Here it shows assigned 300 Airtel communication sites to installation engineers for execution while monitoring other sites survey tasks via online blah 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 blah. Coordinated site survey tasks to give corrections to engineers on rejected reports based on directives. So this thing could actually be his job description, but if you look at it, you will see how he personalized it as his responsibilities. So now it's no longer showing job description or job details. It's the way he edited it, it's showing what he actually did in the organization, even though he was there as an NYSC NYSC candidate. Complete task updates and feedbacks to TSS project directors, blah 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 blah. Then look at, of course, even while doing his NYSC, he moved from being a project support officer to a project manager. And see how he carefully, distinguished between the two, highlighting his responsibilities. And of course, it was interesting to also see that he indicated his achievements in this place of work. It's just one work experience. I actually got this CV, and the time I got this CV, there was no opening at the moment. but I was thrilled, by the details in the CV. It's just a 2-pager, but you can see how interesting the CV looks. It looks like somebody with like 5 years of experience. But look at how he highlighted his achievements, highlighted his skills. And of course, I interviewed him based on everything listed here, and they were true. It's not as if he was just trying to, put in words to have a robust CV. But he was able to articulate his responsibilities and highlight them on paper. He was able to express that even during the interview. So for those without, much experience, it's interesting that it also is very, very important that you make your CV very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Here he listed out, after the career summary, he listed out the skills, achievements, and then professional experience before education. And then look at what he did. During his NYS, he was opportune to undergo some trainings. He listed out all the trainings, memberships, and awards, professional certification. This tells a lot about this applicant. It shows his attention to details. It shows his level of excellence. And there is no hiring manager that would see this for a young graduate and not be interested in the candidate, because it tells that this candidate is very, very smart. But we have received CVs of young graduates, and then professional experience is just 2 lines. And I know that those people would have done much more work than what was highlighted on their CV. So that's why I would always advise, you can go online, you can go on Google, get CV templates that relate to your career or your field, so that you can get the right keywords that describes your potentials, that describes your capabilities, that describes your abilities. So in case you're struggling, with having getting the keywords that better expresses and tells who you are, you go online and search for all of those, then tweak it to suit you. So I just shared this sample resume to show how interesting and you can make your resume be, even without much experience. This guy here listed his trainings, membership, and awards. He listed the projects that he was involved in while doing NYSC, and then listed his interests and activities. Tell me which organization or hiring manager would see this and not want to speak with the candidate. So not having enough work experience is not an excuse why your CV should be vacant. Not having enough work experience should not be an excuse. You can screenshot it and edit it as it suits you. Okay, so yeah, this is it for this. Let me take you to the next slide. Okay, now the next point here is the highlight of achievements. Like I said, there is really no, these things are not cast on rock. You can tweak, you can be flexible about this. Some people can have their achievements, as a a section on its own on their CV. For some, they could have their achievements, listed or itemized under the different organizations that they worked with. They could have that on their career history or work experience. But whichever the case is, I indicated, an example of your achievements. Please, if possible, quantify your achievements. Don't use vague statements. Okay, like I pointed out here. You can say reorganize something to make it work better. These are the things that you did, that improved processes, that you were commended for. You may not have received an award, but it's an achievement. Pen it down. You identified a problem and solved it, either in your department or in your organization. It's an achievement. Pen it down. You came up with a new idea that improved processes, that improved, that improved service delivery in the organization. It's an achievement. So you don't necessarily need to receive an award or, for you to call it an achievement. If you were commended, for that thing by your line managers, by your superiors, whether it was orally said or maybe written, you got a mail, please, it's very important that you highlight it on your CV. You worked on several projects. It's an achievement. Indicate it there that while with so and so Nigeria Limited, you handled projects, relating to this and this and this. This tells that you can be trusted with tasks, you can be trusted with projects, and of course it shows and it tells a lot about your leadership ability. If you received an award, it's an achievement. You can be specific. Of course, if it's an award, you have to be specific about what award it is. And there's no point using some technical jargon that hiring manager, that the recruitment organization may not know. You can just use words, plain words that can easily be identified with. So if you are complimented by your supervisor or co-workers for something, it's an achievement. It could be said orally, it could be said in person. Pen it down in your CV. It tells a lot about you. You know why? You don't need the hiring managers to meet you to tell how good you are, or to tell how capable you are. Let your CV do the talking. You saved money for the company, it's an achievement. You reduced costs for the company, you saved process time, you contributed to good customer service, whatever it is, these are the things that that you were either commended for, like this list of achievements, things that you were either commended for in your workplace. There are the things that you can, pen down under achievements to make your CV interesting, to tell more about you. So I listed some examples of achievement statements. Developed a new employee orientation program that 100% of the company locations adopted. So this is like coming up with a new idea that improves things. So this is now you trying to be more detailed about what it is, because if you just write I came up with a new idea that improves things on your CV, it's vague, it doesn't tell anything. Anybody can say that. I worked on special projects. It's important to itemize what those things are. So it's why I gave some examples of achievement statements. Responded to 85 customer calls daily and solved 90% of their concerns. That's an achievement. If you noticed in my profile, while Ada was reading, she mentioned about how I, my contributions and expertise helped the NGO, reach out to over 1,000 1,000 children. I was specific with number. I wouldn't have just said reached out to children. If I said reached out to children, the hiring manager could think maybe it's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5. So that's why it's very important to quantify the achievements as much as you can. Assisted the credit manager in account collection by phone and mail, increasing accounts receivable by 20%. So these are, examples of achievements, statements that hiring managers can identify with. Don't make it vague like this. Don't make it vague like this. I just listed this, to open your mind um, to key achievements that you could have listed on your CV, but probably took for granted. I just listed this thing to, open your mind to things that you probably took for granted, but you were commended for, and it's important that your CV reflects that. Okay, so for results achieved through teamwork, instead of saying I developed or this one, you can use words like collaborated with a team, was part of a team that helped achieve so and so, cooperated, contributed to, so if it was a teamwork, if it was not something you did as an individual, you can use this kind of words: collaborated, cooperated, contributed to. Like I said, of course, quantify your achievements with figures, percentages, data, statistics, describe them. If you can't quantify them, of course, you can describe a qualitative statement. Look at this one now, like this is like a qualitative statement. Served customers in a positive way, receiving 2 customer service awards in past years. So you may not have been able to tell how much excuse me, you may not have been able to quantify the impact of this in terms of revenue, but you can tell that you got customer service awards, so as much as you can, highlight your achievements on your CV to increase your chances of success. You know why all these things are important is because you're not the only one applying for a position. And look at what we do for my organization. Let's say for these positions I listed out, I shared their job descriptions with us. We are not going to shortlist 10 candidates to the organization. No, we take the stress off them. So we do all the CV review, we do all the sorting, all the analysis, all the interviews and all of that. So for each of the position, the maximum we shortlist per time is 4, at most 5. So you can now imagine getting 20 30 applications to a particular position and then shortlisting 4 or 5. So the reason why all these things are important is to increase your chances, of being shortlisted for an interview, so that you can now be able to describe and tell yourself. Don't just have your CV without details and then expect to show yourself when invited for an interview. What if you don't get the opportunity of being invited for an interview? So the CV should do all the talking. In fact, the CV should make the hiring managers, look forward to inviting you for an interview. So this is it for achievements. Okay, yeah. So here is a sample CV. Let me try and zoom this. I mounted it from my laptop and try to make it fit into the slide. So okay, yeah. So this is a sample CV, for example, and this person is actually one of you. He was profiled for a position. He's actually he's a Rome Business School, I think alumni, yes. So look at what he did with organization. Of course, this is too long. You may not have your own this long. So he's currently a business manager with Guangdong Bahe Medical Technology. Trust me, I was hearing the name. I just heard about this company. And even though it showed medical technology, I don't know what they do. So look at what he did now. He now took out his time to explain what the organization is all about. That way, it was very, very easy to tell that he had the right industry experience for the position. Because I don't know how many of us have heard about Guangdong Bahe Medical Technology, so you can now imagine the hiring manager thinks, I'm like, what do they even do? So, so it saves us the time of trying to go to Google to know what this company is all about. Why? Because it's already explained here on his career history, but you may not have it this long. Like 1 or 2 lines is okay. Just highlight what the organization does, especially if it's not a household name. So here on his CV, he also listed out key responsibilities as this. While, of course, he just resumed as at the time I got this CV last year, so he didn't have much of achievements. So, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so he also has an experience as a country business manager for same company. So he itemized his key responsibilities and then also showed, I hope you can see the screen. You may have to zoom your screen well, to see. He also showed his key achievements. So while at the time he worked as a country business manager, he listed out his key achievements. I'm going to read it out for us, for those with small screens. Signed 7 new distributors to represent our brand within Nigeria. increased sales by $200,000 through aggressive selling techniques within a year, trained and mentored a total of 30 sales officers alongside support staff members within a short time span of 6 months. So can you see how he highlighted his key achievements? So the key responsibilities, may not give an in-depth details of his personality or his capability, but seeing his key achievements, I can tell what he's capable of doing. And of course, the key achievements became topics of conversation when I engaged him for an interview. So it's very important, you highlight all these things on your CV. I saw this CV and I'm like, this person is qualified for the position. And we had him shortlisted for the position. So you see also with Danhodi Engineering Services, he told us what Danhodi is, because I don't know how many of us have heard about Danhodi. Trust me, I was hearing about them for the first time while reviewing the CV. But see now, he saved me the stress of having to, to use Google to know what Dangote Engineering Limited does, because in 2-3 lines he described what the company does. Of course, highlighted the key responsibilities and also highlighted his key achievements. So I just took our time to show us this so that you can now review your CV and implement the changes that can increase your chances of success. Okay, this is also a CV, a sample CV, and this sample CV, this person had his achievements as, oh, okay, I just got something now that we are running out of time. So I won't tell much about this again. So awards and recognition, I'm going to be fast. Thank you, Chris. So for awards and recognition, you can, of course, it can be awards, recognition, achievements, whatever it is. I just showed a sample. Awards, Employee of the Month, December 2001. You can highlight these things on your CV to increase your chances. I'm going to be fast now. So these are also another sample of accomplishments, that were highlighted on CVs. I think I've explained more on this. So the next thing here is education and certifications. Of course, include the degrees you received, your major, the name of the school, location, graduation year. Start with your highest educational attainment. It's very important. If it's PhD, if it's MSc, start with MSc and then take it down to secondary school. There's no point putting primary school. I see some, CVs and I see high school. There is really no need putting high school, except maybe it's a graduate training position. Then, of course, list all professional certifications that are relevant to the course and year is completed. Indicate in view, let's say, if not completed. List out trainings you attended to. I already explained this in sample CVs I shared. Okay, so this is like a template for a project manager. And I just showed this so that you can see how this person has certifications. And this is also from Rome Business School. Certifications that are relevant for this position. I'm seeing CPM here, DCP. So it's very important to get certifications that are relevant, to your positions. Then for skill sets and competencies, list out your soft skills, list out your hard skills. Then if you're looking to transition, list out skills that are relevant, to the jobs or transferable in cases of career shift. Please be honest about what you can do. People always say ability to work under pressure. Then when the pressure comes, you start complaining in the job. Okay, so now I'm going to go into interview. I'm going to share some interview tips. So if called for interview, that means that your CV successfully scaled through the review stage. So very important tips, interview tips to increase our chances. Please do your research about the position and about the organization. Do your research about the position so that you can engage intelligently. Dress properly, whether the interview is virtual or face-to-face. A client did a screenshot of an interview, of a virtual interview with one of the candidates that we profiled for. I think it was for that head business development for the document management company. And I would have shared that, just that I didn't want to expose the candidate. You don't want to see the environment, the look on the candidate, what the candidate was wearing. If that already disqualified the candidate. So whether the interview is virtual or face-to-face, dress properly. Ensure the background is good, well lit. Have alternative network if the interview is online, so that um, you don't frustrate the efforts of the hiring managers. So of course, arrive early, log in early. During interviews, project enthusiasm and confidence. Interview is just a chat. It's just like you discussing with a colleague, but in a professional way. So there is no need to be tensed or afraid, or it's not a do or die. The worst that will happen is to tell you we'll get back to you, right? So if you have that in mind, you will not have any need to be tense, because if you're tense, it's going to show in your conversation. While being interviewed, give specific examples. And then it's very, very important. I highlighted some basic questions. Please rehearse answers to these basic questions. Interviewers would always ask you, can we meet you? Tell us about yourself. you know, Tell us about a challenging situation you ever faced and how you overcame. You can write these things down, rehearse it over and over again, so that when you're explaining this thing, you're very confident saying that. Share your career highlights. What makes you happy? What interests you? Why should we hire you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in the next 3, 5, 10 days? Rehearse answers to these questions. Okay, now there are some reasons why you may still not be selected, even though you had even though you met like 50% or 80% of the requirement. You may not be selected maybe because you're overqualified for the position, you're underqualified, you do not meet with specific requirements. Sometimes some clients will be particular about, we want somebody within the age bracket of 25 and 35. And then you see a very, very good and qualified candidate that is 40. The person may not be shortlisted because of that. Maybe the candidate may not be shortlisted because the person doesn't have the relevant professional certification, or sometimes the client may want a combination experience. So I'm just giving reasons why you may still not be selected. Sometimes it may be as a result of the job location. The location is in Abuja and then you're based in Lagos. And that was why I stated that you should indicate your willingness to relocate, so that the candidate can give you, a chance to be interviewed. And of course, sometimes some clients' budgets are very tight. They want to buy a Ferrari with a Toyota, for a Toyota price, and that doesn't work. They want all of it, and wanting to offer less. Sometimes it could be maybe because they are better candidates. So what to do to increase your chances of success? Of course, don't give up. Update your LinkedIn account with your current work history. Increase your connections online. On LinkedIn, connect with recruiters. You can use the search for recruiters, HR managers, headhunters, talent hunters. Increase your connections so that you can have more organization reach out to you for positions. Get relevant certifications, that relates to the job you intend to have. Get the trainings relevant to the job. Post interesting stuff on LinkedIn for more visibility. I would have shared a story with us, but because we are pressed for time, I'll leave it for another day. Take up voluntary activities and internships for job seekers. I already said that. Then discover your job search with friends and colleagues. You don't know who knows who that requires a particular position. And of course, keep applying. Never give up. So for global profilers vacancies, All applications should be forwarded to info@globalprofilers.com. You can screenshot this. I made a list of some of the urgent, we have more than this, but these ones are very, very urgent. So you can just screenshot it. I will send for this, I've sent some job description to Ngozi. Ngozi is a wonderful person. Ngozi has really been on my neck for Rome students, always studying me, Uche, what are the new positions and all of that. For some I shared with her, for some I haven't shared with her. I have them here. So I'm going to share with maybe Chris. I learned Ngozi is on leave. I'm going to share a detailed job description for all these positions. These are very urgent and open for immediate hire. So I'm going to share the detailed job description with Chris after this session so that you can, of course, see the ones that that interest you or that looks like what you want to consider and then apply. So thank you very much. I learned that I have exceeded my time already. So thank you very much. And I hope you learned one or two things, that would help in your career journey. Please, can I take the questions now? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you so much. That was very, very, very intense. And yes, I didn't just learn one or two things. I learned a lot that is going to be helping me in my career journey, especially as I'm looking to transit. In fact, I've always been afraid of that transiting, but you've just made it look very, very possible. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time and your insight on this topic. So we have a couple of questions here. We do not have so much time, but I will try to see how much justice we can do to some of these questions. I'm seeing one on on how to negotiate for a salary during a new job. So I don't know if it is something you can talk about. I've seen it come up a few times here.
Okay, for that, it's a tricky one. Even though clients have a budget, I would always advise that you find out what the client's budget is first. Because I give an example, there was a time we got a position, it was a plant manager position, and it was in Kaduna. So we had the budget for that role was 25 million. We shortlisted candidates. One was on 500K monthly, one was on 12 million, one was on 10 million, one was on 15 million. And the best candidate that, for the position was the one on 500K. But he could not relate with 25 million, And of course, we made the information available to him that the budget for this role is 25 million. And seeing that you're relocating from Lagos to Kaduna, you can have a good bargain. The client wants you more than you want them. But guess what the guy asked for? When the client asked how much he wanted as salary, he said 1 million. And they gave him the 1 million. They didn't even, but we told him the budget for this was 25 million. So he went for 12 million. So most times I would advise. So, and I know because it's owned by a white woman and she's not very particular about pay. She's more about skill set and industry experience. We've done quite a number of hiring for them. And I've seen over time that she's not about pay. In fact, she wants to pay you high so that it becomes difficult for you to leave her organization. Do you understand? So what I would advise is that you ask what the budget is. And in situation where the budget is below what you want, that way you can now come up with what you want.
Okay, thank you so much. There's another one asking, what would you recommend is the appropriate number of pages a resume should be?
Actually, I have resumes that are 16 pages, 12 pages, 5 pages, But whatever you're doing, I think don't have it to be more than 8 pages. Depending, for somebody that had, let's say, 20 years work experience, the person has a lot. Some people are able to articulate it and make it just 4 pages. There is no standard number of pages. But I would not accept a one-page CV. It doesn't tell me anything about you. So at least from 3 pages upwards, depending on your experience, if yours can fit into 2 pages, and of course, tells a lot about your person, your competence, your abilities, your skills and expertise, fine. But there is no standard number of pages.
Okay. Okay. Then
Because a textbook.
I understand what you mean. I know what you mean. Thank you. So also somebody is asking, you spoke about internship, especially for people who are interested in transiting in their career. So they want to know, is internship only for internship in Nigeria now? Is it only for the undergrad or the NYSC candidates, or do people who already have experience and want to intern maybe in their transition journey, is it possible here in Nigeria?
It's possible. I give an example of my predecessor. That's what it is. Yes, in this particular role, I shared a story how she left Access Bank because she had a child. She was running her masters, and then she couldn't put up with the Lagos traffic because she relocated from Port Harcourt. So she was going north and had to quit from her job. So after like 2 years, she wanted to um, start a job, but no job was forthcoming. And she has always desired a career path in HR. So she applied in my current organization to intern. So like it was a voluntary work. She wasn't being paid, but like she had an experience. So when the vacancy for business manager came up, she got the job. So in Nigeria, of course, you can intern even as an experienced person. You can intern as an experienced person. It's just to know if the current organization has openings for that.
I also want to add that I have over 10 years experience and I'm transiting and I'm actually interning in an organization. And you talked about this person in your organization who got the opportunity to apply for an opening, and that is actually happening to me right now. So yes, I also want to reiterate that as an experienced person, you can intern in Nigeria. There are a lot of organizations that actually give that opportunity. So yes,
Yes.
it's possible. Okay. So I see that we do not have any more questions here.
Okay.
So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your time with us this evening. Thank you so much for giving us so much of your wisdom. And I'm very, very sure that what you have shared with us would push our careers forward. I'm very sure that after now, I already know, I've already seen where I've made certain errors on my resume, and I'm going to be working on it right now once we end this session. So thank you so much. And Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Uche.
We hand it over to you now.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the presentation, and indeed I've learned a lot of things, and some things were very new to me. Imagine. So thank you so much. I believe that the students really enjoyed the program. I can see a lot of them are already indicating interest for the slides. I know the slides will be coming on soon, right?
Oh, yeah, sure, sure.
All right. So I can see that there were many questions, and I think we don't have time to be able to take care of these questions. I believe with time we can review them one after the other, and it's part of the things that we do in career services when we have cases or students who have issues in this regard. We encourage them to come to us in terms of CV review, preparing for interviews, and so on and so forth. These are some of the value-added services that we bring in Rome Business School, Nigeria. I'm sure most people are not aware, but I believe that with today's occasion, we come up with workshops like this for development for every one of our students. So thank you so much, Uche, for hosting us today. And we hope to have you join us some other time in the future. We really enjoyed your presentation.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Tommy, are you online, please? Tommy Lola.
She's muted. She's muted.
I'll suggest you unmute yourself, please.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, please.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can all hear me now.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. I bring greetings from the country director, who is not right now, Dr. Is regarding a big to a facilitator and for all Rome Business School executives that have taken up to join this very insightful session. To all prospective students of Rome Business School, we say a big welcome and thank you so much for joining us this evening as well. And delegates, partners from different organizations, we see you and we appreciate your presence here. I'm bringing good regards from the country director, Dr. Humphrey Akanazu. So thank you so much, Career Service. You're really doing a great job. So I'll say have a wonderful evening, everyone, and enjoy a great weekend from Rome Business School. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. I believe we can all leave the Zoom meeting. It was nice having you around. Thank you, and I wish you a very wonderful weekend.